Hello, everybody. I don't know if this is let's say it go live on the YouTube screen. So I pushed it. I don't know if it's going live or not, but anyway, that's what I wanted to show you right here. This plant is the Yapon holly. It's a plant that a certain type of Creek Indian known as the Seminole, who is said aided the largest black insurgency in the northern in the United States South. It was they called them Seminoles. It was blacks and a certain branch of Creek Indians, and they fought the U.S. government. It was never really defeated. But anyway, this plant symbolizes Chief Oseiola of the Seminole Indians. Chief Oseiola, when the United States Cavalry wanted them to the Creek, his particular tribe of Creek, to surrender and go to the reservation. Well, the actual chief for that tribe, he was willing to go, but Oseiola was not. And so Oseiola, with a bunch of his black ex-slave runaways, some of whom had been there since they were children, many of who had been there since they were children, joined with Oseiola, and they took it to the United States Cavalry. Later on, they approached Oseiola and told him that they would forgive him and let him and his people live in peace if he would to give his black slaves to them. The runaway slaves, surrender them to the United States military to be taken back to plantations. Oseiola asked to see the treaty. When they showed it to him, he stabbed it with a knife to a stump and told him, "Hell no, we'll fight to the end," something like that. So the fighting began again. But anyway, I told you that to let you know how important this plant is. This plant is the Yapon holly, if I'm saying it right, and it was used in the Creek Indian rites of passage. The young men, this is stronger than nicotine. The bulbs from this plant. You have to take the male plant and the female plant together, and it makes bulbs, cherries. But I don't think you eat the cherries. I think you take the leaves and grind them up. And it's supposed to be stronger than caffeine. And it's also a purgative. So you had to drink a whole lot of it and try to hold it down as best as you could. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I think maybe if you threw it up or something that it wasn't considered a full ritual or whatever. I'm not sure. Or maybe you were supposed to throw up. I don't know. But anyway, Chief Oseiola is one of the spirits that I revere. And I wanted to show you an example of symbolic magic. This is really what hoodoo is. Black African American, the first spirituality of African Americans. Hoodoo is not rituals, such as in Yoruba, such as, it's a rituals in a sense. Just the fact of me having his plant here, the Yapon holly, and I think his name was Yahola, something like Oseiola. I can't pronounce the Indian way, but I think it has something to do with this plant. So just by having this plant here, this is his plant. And this plant is from Florida. And I'm here in the cold climate of Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. And it snowed on this plant and everything, and this plant is still here. Now, just by having this plant here, Oseiola protects the doorway to my home. This is that's like symbolic magic in a sense. It's more powerful to me than cutting off heads of chickens and even animal. But sometimes I'll drop something on the floor for my ancestors. But even more powerful than animal, that's the kind of magic that the founding fathers of the United States used to use. Just go to Washington D.C. Symbolic magic, because the universe operates in what we would call the subconscious, not the, how can I say it? Not the apparent conscious, but the subconscious, and we do too. Our subconscious mind controls most of our actions and thoughts. We don't know that, and the universe itself works on the subconscious. Meaning, just by having this plant here like this, that's Oseiola. Especially having this plant here in a northern climate where it's not supposed to be, which which highlights why it's here. This plant is not from this climate, but it's the Yapon holly, which was the plant of Oseiola's people, which was Oseiola's. I think he was named for that plant. So that's highlighted in nature itself, in the universe itself. So this is giving reverence to Oseiola. Just like old black people down south, I have over their mantelpiece of their fireplace. You know, a lot of fireplaces are still around, they're not used. And they would have like pictures of their mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, dead cousins or whatever. And that, in a sense, that's ancestor reverence. Just by having that out there. And those ancestors work for those people. You don't have to, you can give Adamu water, food, but just by doing that, it's powerful. It speaks power. Bringing your ancestors into your home like that. Sometimes to go to their grave and get a little bit of dirt, and maybe, your mother like I had a mother-in-law's tongue, it died. I'm gonna get another one. Just by putting some ancestor grave dirt in that mother-in-law's tongue is paying homage to that ancestor. Because many of our ancestors, leading all the way back from Africa, I was told, to the south, grew mother-in-law tongues or snake plant. My mother grew one when I was young. So just by maybe putting some graveyard dirt, a graveyard dirt of one of your relatives in a snake plant, you're reverencing that ancestor. Or just by having, say like your grandmother was known for having snake plant, mother-in-law's tongue, and you grow one too, that's reverencing your grandmother. Because that's where you got it from, your grandmother. And you're keeping up a tradition that she did. So that's your grandmother's protection on you. And even to take a little bit, carefully read how and snip a little bit of that snake plant and put it in a mojo bag and put it in your pocket. Sew it in your pocket. Or for Oseiola, see, I do something I call it New African Hoodoo, but you can call it African American spirituality, whatever. Where I reverence not only my ancestors, but the national ancestors of Black Americans: Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Oseiola. New Orleans Hoodoo, they reverence Black Hawk. But I reverence Oseiola. Oseiola fought with and for black people. And they were never defeated by the U.S. government. Not really. They tricked Oseiola, said they wanted to sign a peace treaty. They seized him and locked him away, where he died, I think, of malaria. So, this is reverencing Oseiola, folks. This is how we do it. Hoodoo The slaves had to do it this way because they couldn't outwardly be doing rituals in front of Europeans and such, because that was taboo. That was known on the slave plantation, and they would be punished severely for that. So they had things the white man wouldn't know what they was doing out. Like they had little plots of land where they could grow different flowers and such, and they'd be arranging the flowers in like a way that reverence the ancestors and stuff like that. And the plantation owner would not know what they were looking at. And so that's like another thing. Like like the Bible. Okay, people say I need to do a whole. You know what? I'm going to do a whole nother video on that, because actually the figures in the Bible, a lot of the characters in the Bible, a lot of people in hoodoo like would do spells to Moses and do spells to this one and that one. But a lot of people in the Bible were actually God names that they gave these characters, because the Hebrews at one time were polytheistic. And these God names, they turned into heroes in the Bible. Like Samson was the sun god. There's a professor, Dr. Robert Price, who speaks of this on the internet. Check out a podcast called Myth Vision, and look up Samson versus Hercules. Were they real or something like that? Were they real people or something like that? And he explains, and he gets his knowledge of that from other scholars before him who tweaked that out of history. And in the Bible itself, if you know how to read it and see where it's been edited, you can kind of see remnants of that. So when you reading the Bible, singing the Psalms, you're supposed to sing the Psalms actually. Use the Psalms and spells or what have you, or let's say not spells. They call it not spells, formulas or something like that. I forgot. But anyway, when you using magic like that and using powerful psalms and calling on the powerful characters in the Bible, what you're calling on is nature itself. Because these characters, before they were turned into biblical heroes, were the powers and force of different aspects of nature. So that's why I always wondered how the Bible was so powerful when I studied and saw that a lot of that stuff didn't actually happen. But there were metaphors and there were ways of incantations of bringing down the powers of the universe to you. Okay, that's it. I'm getting ready. This is it. If you like, press like, subscribe. Peace.